With yesterday's Python Commandos Warbond reveal, we got a ton of information concerning the gear and weapons, which it turns out was not entirely accurate, as Arrowhead has now gone in and corrected some of those previous responses. Plus, we just got a full rework to the new armor passive, which hasn't yet made it into the game. Yeah. Stay tuned while I break it all down for you, and if you haven't already, please consider hitting subscribe and ringing the notifications bell as I take you through the latest from Helldivers. We're going to get into the new Python Commandos Warbond info we were able to get our hands on in just a moment, because it includes a few corrections and a complete change now with the armor passive. But first, as of about 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time this morning, we have roughly 34,000 divers logged on and enjoying a cup of liberty. And that said, we are showing exactly 24 hours to go on the current major order, and things are not looking good. Our planetary defense bar is only halfway full, so that's 4 of 8 defenses that have been secured versus, well, you can see the timer there, 24 hours to go, and there's the major problem. However, that said, there is a force of about 15,000 resolute divers currently going up against the Ensign Corps on 𝗛𝗏𝘆𝗶𝘀𝗲𝗿 3, and it looks like we will pull that one off versus that level 40 invasion. It also looks like the divers are not willing to attempt the gambit through Marfark, but those always require a specific set of circumstances to actually achieve victory. 𝗛𝗲𝗹𝗆𝗃 is showing the Ensign Corps up there as well, but it will not count towards our defense objectives, and the only other current defense is on 𝗛𝗏𝗆𝗃𝗃𝗃 versus a level 24 invasion where only 2,800 or so divers are up there and not faring well. But I get it. The majority of players are waiting for next Tuesday's Python Commandos Warbond to drop, along with whatever Arrowhead has cooked up for performance improvements and optimizations as well. I also consistently see questions in my video comment section asking if the PC hard locking has been completely fixed, and I showed you earlier this week that it hasn't. When my PC, after a normal exit from Helldivers, froze my main screen while taskbar and locking the computer did nothing. I ended up having to power down and reboot just to get back control of my PC, so clearly that hasn't been fully sorted. Now, we did see Community Manager 𝗛𝗎𝗆 respond yesterday, letting us know that along with next Tuesday's Warbond release, the studio is also pushing live more performance updates. So, yeah, fingers crossed this thing gets sorted. Speaking of yesterday and the announcement of the Python Commandos Warbond, I posted this video where I spent a great deal of time asking questions of the community managers about pretty much everything to do with the gear and weapons. And if you are at all interested in the official statements about the grenade launcher, the Maxigun, and all the rest of it, including the damage and armor pin values, plus a bunch more, I'll drop a link to this video down in the video description and pinned comment. However, it's been another 24 hours since we got our first round of information on the Warbond, and I've got a little bit more you may want to know about. Plus, we need to circle back and drop in the corrections, because some of the information I got for you yesterday was, at the time, not entirely accurate. First up is the M1000 Maxigun, aka the minigun, and yesterday it was asked if the weapon had a reload and or refill mechanic, or if it was an expendable stratagem once you use up all the ammo. And at the time, Community Manager 𝗛𝗎𝗆 responded back that it was expendable, no reload mechanic. Well, it turns out that was not accurate, as 𝗛𝗎𝗆 corrected his previous statement, now saying, yeah, I got mixed up, it's not expendable. So there you go, divers. The Maxigun can be refilled, I'm assuming through resupplies and spare ammo, just like we currently do with, say, the AMR or autocannon, but there won't be a reload mechanic or animation. Now, my guess here is that it would require a lot of new mocap work, and they just didn't have the time to sort all that out before next week. And while we are touching on the minigun, there was an early rumor floating around yesterday that when you fired the weapon, your diver would be locked in place, but I couldn't confirm that before posting yesterday's video. However, it is now confirmed to be true, as Community Manager 𝗏𝗏𝗆𝗍𝒂𝒃 did say you are locked down while you shoot, if I remember correctly. Jumping next to the Chainsword, and after yesterday, we learned that the weapon starts as medium armor pen, but then progresses up to AP4 or heavy armor pen the longer you grind against a target. their words, not mine. And we could also see that the weapon was a two-handed melee option, meaning that there would be no ballistic shield combos in tandem with the Chainsword. However, since you have to hold the weapon out and against a target to grind against it in the hopes of building up your armor pen value, I thought this might deplete our stamina bars since it would require us to hold down attack. And my fear was that we would be grinding against a target for a while and then become completely stamina depleted, making us a quick snack for fast-moving enemies. And with this in mind, I did reach out to the devs who tested it and said that they were not seeing our stam bars go down while grinding the weapon against the targets. So overall, that's pretty good news. And finally, we got some big news dropping in the official Helldivers Discord earlier today concerning the new armor sets and the rock solid passive. Coming to us again from Mitchimus, here's the announcement, quote, "There was a mistake in the blog about the upcoming armor sets where the blog stated Ragdoll and Stagger Resist. It is actually Ragdoll Resistance and bonus 100% melee damage, no Stagger Resist." So overall, it sounds like they've taken the extra melee damage from 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 and added it in its entirety here to the rock solid passive with no value stat reductions, along with whatever this Ragdoll Resistance value will be. On that note, I did read some of your comments asking why Arrowhead doesn't just fix ragdolling within the game once and for all, instead adding in an armor passive that does it for us, or at least partially, and to be honest, I had the exact same thought. Kind of like 𝗛𝗆𝗆𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 optimization, why is it a booster and not just a permanent fixture in the game? And I honestly can't give you an answer on either of those. Depending on how much ragdoll resistance we gain through this new armor, it might actually make sense to stick with 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 to keep the melee damage, if you're going for that with the Chainsword, but also for that extra weapon handling, especially if the Maxigun is a bit of a wild stallion. Which brings us back to the Python Commandos Warbond itself and how it feels kind of rushed to market, or at least it feels that way to me. Based on the videos that we're posting to YouTube and then getting taken down due to the copyright strikes, something else seemed to be in the works, as in that redacted stealth Warbond thing. And so when Python Commandos hit yesterday, we were all kind of caught off guard. Now, big thanks goes out to the comms team for taking on the brunt of the questions in Discord, and their alerts must have been going haywire. But even they seemed a little bit underprepared for the questions that were coming in, which got me thinking if this Warbond was supposed to be here and now, or did it leapfrog another one? Other clues to it being rushed were the Superstore offerings, which are normally shown off in the Discord, and sometimes at the end of the trailers, and how they were nowhere to be found yesterday, and still aren't. We know it's coming from other sources, but why wasn't it posted like it normally is, unless it wasn't ready? And along with this misspelling in the official PlayStation blog post calling the new heavy armor the best of prey, it all kind of keeps adding fuel to the theory that Python Commandos needed more time in the oven. Will it affect the Warbond's release next week, adding in more issues than before through the introduction of broken items to the game? Well, I honestly don't know, but I was just seeing and feeling these inconsistencies and it kind of stuck with me. Anyways, here's where you get to respond. Drop me a comment about anything Helldivers related, and of course I'll do my best to respond. Please hit subscribe and ring the notifications bell to receive my future upload alerts. A massive thanks goes out to all of our current channel members, and until the next one, this is LtBuzzLitebeer, signing off.